The 5 golden rules to survive in any prison. People who don't follow those rules end up in a jam, beat down, stabbed up, nearly killed, some killed. 25 years in, 10 years in, had homicides within prison. He killed his bunkie, ended up in another jail, then he killed his other bunkie just because of words. If you come out your cell, you're gonna pass 22 cells. It is from the proper etiquettes in the feds. That is a no-go. Why? Don't mess with men. Everybody know what I mean by that. You like boys.
باب مفتوح للاجتهادات التقليد هذا حد العالم هذا طالب هذا راسخ والى اخره.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. To all the RipRightHD disciples, YouTubers, and viewers, welcome back to a new video on RipRightHD. Okay, guys, we back in effect. Okay, because we're going to be doing prison stories once again. And just prison lessons and valuable lessons that you should know about prison. Whether you've been to prison or you're looking forward to going to prison. Now let me stop. Now let me stop. It's not a joke. This thing is serious because some people might ask, yo, why would you teach that about prison? The fact that I'm gonna teach you about prison is because it doesn't necessarily mean that a person ends up in prison that he actually did the crime. If you look up people that are innocent, they have encyclopedias on the amount of people that were exonerated after evidence was found later on, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. There's people right now still suffering in prison based upon crimes they didn't commit. This is ma'ruf. This is well known. So just to get back in the mix of prison, as you guys know, I did over 10 years. I did time in New Jersey, I did time in federal prison, and I did time also in New York State prison. And for the most part, I've learned a few things that's general from the feds, from New York State, as well as New Jersey State prison. And it looks like this is how it goes for the majority of the prisons that I could see in the U.S. So I'm going to be giving you guys the 5 golden rules to survive in any prison. Now, these are rules that me personally, that I came up with, that I noticed that works, that I've seen people who don't follow those rules end up in a jam, end up getting cooked, meaning beat down, stabbed up, nearly killed, some killed, and it gets no worse than that. However, I've also seen people that don't follow these rules and then they survive. So, it all depends. And some people wonder, how did I survive prison? I believe being fortunate that Allah Ta'ala chose me to survive prison, being in the right place at the right time, because I've seen people that follow the rules and still get cooked. You understand? Still get scars, still end up almost dead. So I really have more than 5 rules, but we're going to give you the 5, and we might give you a bonus, because the first rule is not to snitch. And I say that why? You have to do this actually before you enter prison. Now, for a guy that's innocent, he's in the precinct, he didn't do the crime, he knows somebody that did the crime, is it okay for him to snitch? Some people would say, yeah, he's a civilian, it doesn't count. Some people would say, no, he still can't snitch. You definitely, once you're in the game, that's an unwritten rule. If you're committing crime, there's no way you can get locked up and then tell. If you tell, then you become a snitch. Obviously, if you're a civilian, people do not, if you have any sense, you're not going to call that person a snitch, especially if it's my mother that sees you, or my mother gets locked up for a crime she ain't commit. She's telling if she know who did it. That's just what it is. So if you're committing crimes and you get locked up, the first thing you have to do is keep your mouth closed, because if you don't, once you enter the prison, especially in the feds, they're big on paperwork. This is one of the ways I've seen a lot of people get stabbed, get cut, get sent up top. And we're going to get into what does that mean, getting sent up top, in later on videos, like getting sent to solitary confinement by other, obviously, convicts. So the first step, the first golden rule, and I'm not even going to put it with the golden rules, I'm just going to put that in a category in itself, is that if you're committing crime, when you get caught and you get locked up, even if it's for something you didn't do, you have to hold water. If you don't hold water, then what happens is it comes out eventually. Your paperwork, especially in the feds, because once you get to the feds, you have to get with guys, whether you're from New York, you from Chicago, you Crippin, you Bloodin, you a Nieta, whatever it is, you're gonna get with a particular group of people, and they're gonna want to see if your paperwork is good. And if your paperwork is not good, and you told and you snitched, then that's one of the ways you will not survive in any prison, especially if they're big on that paperwork. And I know in the feds, in New York State, that wasn't really a big thing like that. Amongst the gangs, yeah, people would want to see your paperwork, but it wasn't really big amongst a lot of the cars and the people in general. That's from what I've noticed. Okay, let's just get right into rule number 1. This was big for me because I'm a guy that I'm very sociable. So the first rule is, just like you're not supposed to snitch, when you get to your jail, you can't really be a talker, especially if you're just running your mouth for no reason. Right? They say gangsters move in silence and violence. I started to notice being in prison that a lot of the guys, when I was first coming in, and finding out about their cases later on, they were the most quiet people in the jails. I mean, the ones with 25 years in, 10 years in. I was meeting dudes that had homicides within prison. He killed his bunkie, then he went to the box for 5-6 years, then he ended up in another jail, then he killed his other bunkie. I've ran into people like that in the feds, and these people weren't big on talking. And I've seen dudes who do the total opposite. They constantly do this. And it was tough for me. I play basketball. I like to play different sports. I'm sociable. So just talking, getting to know people is good sometimes, but over talking, speaking too much, getting in the mix, always just yapping, eventually you're going to show your hand. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to joke on the wrong person, and it's going to open a door. And I've seen a lot of people get beat badly just because of words, how much they talk, and not really keeping their mouth closed. Golden rule number 2. Remember, snitching is not even on the table. We already know that's a rule within itself. So we're going to go to golden rule number 2. That's mind your business. Okay? In the feds, for example, this is considered minding your business. You have 30 cells on this side, you have 30 cells on that side, and that's the upper tier. Then you have 30 more cells on the bottom and another 30 cells on the bottom, right? So 30, 60, let's say you got 120 people in your unit. And each of those cell blocks are double bunk, so it's 2 people in the cell. Let's just say, for whatever reason, you got all of those cells and all of those people. If you come out your cell and to get down to where you need to go to, you're going to pass 22 cells. It is from the proper etiquettes in the feds and in most jails. When you're walking, don't go looking to your right into somebody's cell, especially if their door is open, their window is not covered, like then, because usually when it's time, like, people will lock their door, close it up. It's not all the way fully locked, and they'll put a towel up to use the bathroom. But, for the most part, some people are in there sitting down. It's a dude in his bunkie. It might be a dude's bunkie. He's out of there. He's in there with 2-3 other dudes. They talking, they smoking. People are doing whatever they are doing in their cells. It is from the proper etiquettes, which consist of minding your business, never to look into somebody's cell. If you see dudes arguing, watching them, constantly seeing what's going on, if it ain't your people's, stay out the way. Trying to de-escalate a situation and you don't know the guys, you're not in that same car, you're minding somebody else's business, constantly talking and gossiping and finding out what's going on with these dudes, what's going on with that dude, then you're talking and bringing it to other people. If that gets back to the wrong people, you won't survive in jail. And that's a fact. Okay, let's go to golden rule number 3. Most people don't follow this rule. Some people get away with it for whatever reason. Basically, possibly by paying debts. Don't gamble. I've seen people get damaged because of gambling. And if you're going to gamble, then you got to make sure you have that money. You got to make sure you have people sending you that money. You got to make sure your money is on the wood. People are what they call ass betting, or they're wishing on a well. They're waiting for some money to come in, and they're still gambling with the money they got. And once they lose that money, they're still at the table hoping that they're going to regain that income, just like a casino. So a lot of people might not have the money. They might talk to the dude that's running the table, the dude they owe, yo, listen, the money is coming in, and then the money never shows up. So what happens in that situation? You're going to get smoked. A dude is either going to stab you over that money, they're going to jump you over that money. They're going to send you to solitary confinement, which is the easiest way out, where you just go in the box. You don't come back out the box until you get the money, or you don't come back out the box until they ship you to a new jail. And obviously, when other people go to that jail and they end up seeing you, people already know, yo, yeah, son was at the gambling table. Don't let him, you know what I'm saying? It's already, it's a stain. So that is definitely rule. What's that? Rule number 3. Don't gamble. Number 4, don't use drugs. Especially in the feds, because in the feds, one of the biggest things was K2. And K2 had the ability of addiction that was beyond understanding. The way these people were addicted to K2, they were like worse than fiends out on the streets, dope heads, crackheads, and people who use drugs know and understand what happens when you start to use drugs and you start to spend all your money, and all your money that's coming in, you start borrowing from this person. You've been so used to buying drugs from this guy that now he starts to give you drugs on consignment because he knows you're quote unquote good for it. But now at this time, you burnt the bridge with your family already. They're no longer sending you money because you're calling for exuberant amounts of money constantly. 200 here, 300 here, 400. You burnt the bridge. So now you're trying to hustle throughout the jail. You're wishing on a well. You're telling people, my money good, and they like, yeah, your money good. So they're constantly giving you, and then when commissary come, or when it's time for you to get that money back, you don't got the money. So all that's going to lead to is you not surviving in prison. Not surviving in prison. And then we're going to go last but not least, because there's a lot. I would tell people, don't play contact sports. I would put that as a golden rule. I don't know how I survived. I got into so much situations by playing basketball, football, all kind of different sports. But where there's a will, there's a way. Number 5, don't mess with men. Everybody know what I mean by that. You like boys. That is a no-go. Why? If someone comes into jail, whatever the case may be, might have the long hair, they've been taking different testosterone, whatever shots it is, the hormonal shots, we've seen it. They grow breasts. It's wild. Some of them are looking like women. If you were walking down the compound to go to the mess hall or anywhere, I've seen it. The smell alone, them walking past, you would think you was on a college campus and it was a co-ed. No funny. And just because that's not a girl, because you're in prison. So you're in a men prison. It's serious. So that's one of the unwritten rules. You can't do that. Once you start, I'm gonna tell you why. Because most of the people that get involved into that, they're on gold. And when I say gold, it's almost like the street. So if you're married or if you have a girlfriend, and people understand what I'm saying about girlfriend, we know that's forbidden in Islam. If you're married, you got a girl or you got somebody that you really like and you're dating and y'all having sexual relations, and that girl starts to, hint like she's feeling another guy. They're talking a little bit too much. You're finding out about it. All of a sudden, he becomes your worst enemy. So many people are locked up right now, 25 to life, 30 to life, based upon a girl. They killed somebody for a girl, a woman, somebody that wasn't even married to them. Somebody that, is right now with 2, 3 other different guys at the same time. So the automatic bond that a man has to a woman is different. We're very overprotective and for the most part about our women folk. So when you get in these prisons and you got these guys that are attracted to other guys and these guys are looking like straight girls, it's multiple. You got the gangsters, you got some of the Muslims that's interested, unfortunately, and we've witnessed this. You got some of the Christians, you got everybody in the jail trying to see whose joint that's gonna be. So now somebody might get him. Now that dude that might get him, he might be a whole gangster. Yeah, he might be on that timing, and you could say he's this and he's that, but he's a murderer. He'll kill you without no question. So now you come into jail and you know that he's with so-and-so, but yet still you try to go behind closed doors, you sneaking. It's drama behind that. And I've seen multiple people get battered behind messing with another man's man in jail. That's what happens because the man in that situation, which is both of them are men, we would say a butch and this and that. The man and the one who is real feminine, remember, the man is protecting, or quote unquote, he feels like this is mine, this is my girl, this is my wife, and I got 10 years to go, or I got 20 years in, or I ain't been with a woman in so long. Let somebody come over here and try to take what's mine. That's how they feel, and they will kill you over that. So that's one of the most serious unwritten rules, I would say, with surviving. If you do what you do, I'm telling you, be careful in there, because people don't play about their men. Those same men, you would never really see them in the mess hall. You would never really see them go into commissary. You don't really see them leave the housing units like that. Usually somebody in that particular housing unit got them on lock. They might go out to the yard, because people will get married in the yard. They throw in rice. It gets that crazy. I seen a dude and another dude. Yo, it's so serious that, he's laying down in the yard. The other dude is on all fours. And I tell you, and I kid you not, we in jail. He got on his sunglasses, and this dude was Diesel. He used to lift up the whole yard, at the wreck, and the dude is on all fours, and he's like pulling grass and, throwing it in his face, and it was like a picnic, and it was out there, and I was like, wow, this thing is real. Yo, we in jail. People will kill you behind this, so just be careful. So those are my 5 unwritten or 5 golden rules to surviving in any prison you go throughout the USA. And I would think, guys, be careful, stay out of prison. This thing is serious. It's legit. People are dying in there. People are still getting assaulted sexually, mentally, physically, in every which way. The police or beating dudes to a pulp. It's so many different situations that happen in jail. And I just thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I survived and I was able to make it out. So till next time, stay tuned, stay ripped, six pack, big back, big facts.
Indeed, in the body, literal translation, is a lump of flesh, a piece of meat. إِذَا صَلَحَتْ صَلَحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. And when that lump of flesh